Your following committee meetings to order for January 23rd, 2018. And everybody please rise for the pledge of allegiance. And Pete, would you like to use it?
Absolutely. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And would you take the roll call?
Assessor Moylan Pride. Highway Commissioner Kazmierczak. Here. Clerk Giolano is here. Supervisor Moraz.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Carabota. Here. Trustee McKenzie.
Here.
Trustee Sweet.
Here.
All right, now, moving on, I need an approval of the minutes of the December 19th, 2017 special board, motion for approval of the minutes of the December 19th special board.
I'll make a motion for approval of the December 19th, 2017 special board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, can you please take the roll call?
Supervisor Moraz.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Sweet.
Yes.
And now I'd like a motion for approval of the minutes of the regular December 27th.
It's bill paper.
I got it. 2017 bill pay review. Thank you.
I make a motion for the December 27th bill pay review.
And may I have a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, can I call the roll?
Supervisor Moraz.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Sweet.
Yes.
And now, may I have a motion for approval of the minutes of the regular December 27th, 2017 board meeting?
I make a motion for the approval of the minutes of the December 27th, 2017 board meeting.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any addition, changes, corrections, or deletions? Hearing none, can you call?
I just have one, sorry. Very small.
Almost got through it.
Yes. I'm trying to find them right now, but it was just the mention of Wally, I think, consulting. I think it's a law firm or law something, but.
That was the close, that was the bill pay act. I said something about them, not the regular meeting.
Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Because there was no discussion.
Call the roll.
Supervisor Moraz.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Carabota.
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
Yes.
Trustee Sweet.
Yes.
Okay. And now, as we always do, we have a section here that allows public participation. I want to remind everybody that there is public participation on each and every agenda item. You're not limited to right now. Does anybody wish to address right now? Having no public participation. Did I hear something? Yeah. Step right up. Sir, you need something to pass on? Did you want to pass on something?
No.
Oh, okay. If you can step up and give us your name and what town.
No.
Joe McCool, Niles. I want to talk about what's on the agenda, the Senior Property Tax Assistance Program. And it's apparently trying to keep people from getting their property on a tax sale, tax auction or tax sale, whatever you want to call it. These properties, the taxes that are going to be at the tax sale in May 4th, according to this, are for the year 2016. And those were due last August. So it's like 8 months after the point they were due, and that's the second installment. What happens in a tax sale, there's going to be bidders that are going to bid on the interest for the time that this money hasn't been paid to the county. So sometimes if the property is very desirable, the interest rate could be zero because the bidder hopes to acquire the property. Now, that owner or the person being the owner of the property has 2 years to redeem without anything happening on that tax sale. So if we have a tax sale 2018, May 4th, 2020, May 4th, is the first date that the person that bought the auction, bought the tax interest, has a chance to go to court and to try to get a tax deed. They have to go to court. That may take 30 days. I'm not an attorney. There's some attorneys here. 30 days to get an order. Then the person has to be served by the sheriff's police, which could take 6 weeks very often. That's how good they are. And once they're served, there'll be a date for them to make an appearance in court. This whole thing can drag on another year. So we've got somebody that hasn't paid their taxes 3 years ago is finally going to court. They have until the judge rules that the buyer of on the auction has a chance to get an actual tax deed from the tax sale. So that could take a year, could take 6 months, whatever. So we're talking 3 years at least maybe from when the taxes were due. So there's plenty of time. There's also a lot of programs from the state. And first of all, why is somebody having a tax problem? They're probably in too big of a house for what they can afford. So you've got people that are one person living in a 2,000 square foot house with $10,000 in taxes. They can't afford it. They need to downsize. Very often we're dealing with seniors here. They're not willing to, or they got mental problems, or they, incompetent for some reason. They don't want to move. So they need, number one, to downsize. There's also other alternatives. I don't know if you watch television enough, but there's this thing called reverse mortgage. And they can get funds from this to pay their taxes, live in the house, keep title to the house, and survive this crisis to some extent. Also, the state of Illinois has, I checked this out, there's a deferred senior program where the state of Illinois more or less gives you a reverse mortgage. They will give $5,000 a year, 6% interest, as long as you stay in the house, and that doesn't have to be paid back till the person leaves the property or passes on or whatever. So once the property is vacated, then that's payable. So there's a lot of alternatives. I don't think this township should get involved in giving people money to staying in a house that they probably can't afford. There's plenty of downsizing. If you go, let's say you have a house with 10,000 taxes, that 10,000 they would probably, if they went on to rental, they would probably get some kind of subsidy, rent subsidy, if they couldn't afford it, Section 8, or maybe seniors subsidy of some sort. So this is just, it doesn't make any sense. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we are going, is this about this item?
Yes,
Okay, so we're going to have a discussion on this item, and,
I'll be very short.
okay, because we do have an honorary scout who we want to get his family out, so that would be great. Because nobody's heard about the program to make public participation.
My name is Ellen Roble, and I'm in Hartford, Illinois. I just have a few very minor comments in addition to what the gentleman said. I think anyone who's been in arrears on their taxes for 2.5 years should have addressed the issue before their house is taken away from them. Like the gentleman said, you can get a reverse mortgage.
I'm sorry, ma'am, can you state your name and what town you're from?
Ellen Roble, Park Ridge.
Thank you.
Like the gentleman said, you can get a reverse mortgage and pay your taxes that way. You can also go to the Center of Concern, and they have a home sharing program where you can have someone move into your home. If somebody did that, they could pay their taxes. They're obviously living in a home for 2.5 years that they can't afford. I really think it's not incumbent upon Maine Township to take on the payment of these taxes. That's just in addition to what the
Thank
gentleman
you.
said. I said I'd be brief.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to exercise some discretion and move up 2 items of new business prior to approval of the expenditures in the officials report. And the first item is a proclamation honoring Ted Weichel. It's Mr. Weichel and you. All right, and I'm going to come down here and read this, and then I'm going to ask everybody once I'm done reading this. Whereas Ted Weichel is a 17-year-old Maine South High School senior who resides in the city of Park Ridge, County of Cook, Township of Maine, State of Illinois. And whereas while in elementary school, Ted became interested in first aid and began carrying a first aid kit. And whereas Ted joined the scouting program in order to pursue, among other things, his interest in first aid. On October 26, 2017, he was awarded the rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas on October 20th, 2017, Ted heard a loud crash outside his home. Stepping outside, he saw 2 vehicles involved in an accident at the end of his block, one of which was up against a tree. And whereas Ted grabbed his first aid kit and proceeded to the accident scene, where he saw a young woman, a passenger, sitting on the grass bleeding from a cut on her head. Ted wiped away the blood, placed a piece of gauze into the woman's hand, and instructed her to keep the gauze pressed against the wound. And whereas Ted then directed his attention to the woman driver, who was also bleeding and fading in and out of consciousness, Ted proceeded to wipe away the blood, place gauze on the injured woman's cut, and began talking to her to keep her conscious. And whereas Ted continued to talk to her while applying pressure to the large cuts on her head until the paramedics arrived. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Laura J. Morask, Supervisor of Maine Township, along with the Maine Township Board, do hereby honor and applaud Ted Weichel for his passion and dedication to helping others and his invaluable contribution to our community. His act of kindness and compassion is truly inspiring, and we wish him success in all his future endeavors. In witness whereof, I have heretofore set my hand, and Peter G. Lamas, Clerk of Maine Township, has hereunto caused the seal of Maine Township to be affixed this 23rd day of January 2008. Thank you. I'd like to say in this day and age when it's hard to get our young people off their computers, their devices, and their video games, that we have someone who saved 2 people's lives. If we can have the whole board, come on.
You should try me.
Yes, Dagmar?
Yes,
Where's
very much.
Dagmar? Is he too young for you? I don't think so.
He's
Excuse the board.
I don't know what you get to stuff.
Okay. Come on down. All right, so you and I are going down here.
And then everybody else pays it up. Right now. Closer. Real friendly, yeah, good close. Okay, Susie, would you step down, maybe Susie, the 2 Susie? All right.
You're so tall.
Go ahead. All right, one, two,
I want the parents.
Yeah, then you're here.
Can Mr. and Mrs. Weichel come up too? What are your first names?
Gary.
Ellen and Gary, congratulations on having.
You must be so
such a
proud.
incredible, tremendous.
You should get in here, please.
And if you
Please.
can come in the picture, that is absolutely incredible.
Okay.
All right, one more.
Okay, what a group. Wow. All right, one time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Cheese. One name? You'll get one of them.
it's always great to be able to honor really that kind of, it's absolutely incredible. So I highly applaud Ted and wish, he's gone. Wish you all the success in your future. And when you're ready to be a lawyer, come apply to my office. All right, the other thing I'm going to move up because this gentleman has an incredibly far ride to go, and it's just a brief presentation, is the new township website unveiling, which is a bit of a misnomer because it's not quite ready for prime time. It's a sneak peek, and I have to say, we love it. We are very, very. I'm going to introduce our wonderful IT guy, John Ambergy, who, when we met John and contracted with John, we saved ourselves boatloads of money from our previous people. And over the past year, our website committee, myself, John, Rich, Dana, and a designer that was referred by John McNabola named Carla Surma, decided to modernize and update this website. Can everybody see it? Is it possible to? That's the old one, no wonder.
This is the old website.
All right, so John is going to give you a little preview, but he's not doing any questions because he says he doesn't do any public speaking.
I don't do well with public speaking. Okay, so everybody has probably at one point been to the old website. I was just kind of giving you.
Just talk louder.
This is the old website. This is the before, and now here is the new look of the after. What we're going for is to make it a lot more user-friendly, making stuff easier to find, keeping the headlines, you know, and the stuff that's going on around the town of Park Ridge a lot easier to get to, and the stuff that most people would look at every day.
And those photos can change, right?
Those photos will
the
change
photos,
as we want.
They're called hero photos. And
Correct.
so,
Now,
and then will you show them the icons underneath?
Yes. So down here, we made these icons interactive, so you'll have a contact us option. What we've also added is an upcoming events calendar. The nice part about the calendar here, I'll give you a show, there's nothing really on it other than today's meeting, but the website's also very mobile friendly, because over 60% of the people that visit websites use their mobile phones to do so. So, for example, when the calendar's filled out and everybody has their events put on there, you can actually click into the calendar event right from your phone and export an iCal event right there. So it'll put a calendar invitation reminder on your phones for all your meetings and all that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, and then it can also, if I'm correct, that can link back to the place where we have the government drop-down menu, so they can get their board agenda, they can
Yes.
get the packet.
Well, that's what the tab for board meetings.
There you go.
There's one right here. So again, the board meetings right here in the front will have a list of all the meetings, the agenda minutes, the videos, which would be the links to the pages that they're on. You know, so all of that is available at a glance. Just a couple of the other features that I'll show you really quick here would be like the mainly newsletter that comes out, I believe it's quarterly, that gets, let's see, navigate this. What we're doing is we're making this kind of an interactive type of website. Let's see, it's kind of slipping in the internet how slow it is. So this is actually going to be, you know, a flip book type of PDF that everybody can go through. So, you know, you can do it either from your phone.
Oh, that is so cool.
You can read it. So, pick, you know, whatever pages. You also have the capability to download the newsletter if you'd like. We're also doing this type of format with the Mainstreamers newsletter that comes out every month, you know, with all that kind of stuff as well. And there'll be links to past editions, you know, on the page as well.
Can you read off the headers that are at the top for them, because it's hard to see?
Yeah, well, what we have right now, we have just kind of a list of services that's offered. These are going to be links to other pages, but it'll be kind of the stuff that most people are coming to the site to view. You know, public aid assistance or property tax appeal, those type of things. And it'll just kind of link you to a page where you can access that information that you need.
All languages.
Yes.
Oh, will you show them the
The other
Google
thing is we
Translate?
actually have, we've incorporated Google Translate in it. So with Google Translate, we can, I have to get over here so I can actually see, but we can translate in pretty much any language you'd like. So if you speak Polish, we can actually translate the whole website into Polish, so you can read it as you need. The nice thing about this, and someone brought it up earlier, is we have people that come in and we don't have somebody that actually speaks that language. We could, you know, we can translate the page, pardon me, from the website and print it out and give them the information in the language that.
Yeah, that's great. And it's like 100 languages.
It has everything from Arabic to Zulu, so, you know, I don't know what language, you know, that most people speak here, but there's a lot, I'm sure, so, but this is the, you know, the different languages you can go from, and it even has dialects of languages. Now, we're not translating it, Google's translating it, so if there's anything that's wrong in the translation, you can't hold us responsible. Okay. But I think we had someone kind of proofread it, and they got the gist of it. So it works pretty well.
Did you say the Mainstreamers newsletter?
The Mainstreamers newsletter absolutely will. And again, the website's not completely done. It's just part of it, but I do have the Mainstreamers newsletter. It's really hard to control this mouse. Move so fast. So the Mainstreamers page here and their newsletter
Wow.
is done the same way.
Oh my.
So again, you'll have the ability to do that. Now, it may look a little odd, but most people don't have an 80-inch screen to, you know, to look at the website. So that's why you might have a little more border than you normally kind of see. But yeah, the newsletter, again, the same format, downloadable, has all the information that, you know, that they need. And also links to past.
And all of those things are translatable into,
The documents themselves are not translatable.
okay.
Okay, that has to be done when the documents are created and, you know, something that we have to be done at that. But the past issues are there. And what we've done on the archive page is we've also set it up so that just the previous issue before, like for example, the January issue, will be interactive. And then there'll just be links to PDFs for the previous ones. You know, 'cause it takes up a lot of bandwidth and it's, you know, waiting for all these pages to load. But the previous issue, and then you can see it goes back for about a year on the rest of the ones that they have. So that kind of gives you.
And then I wanted you to show like one department. I think you had the assessors finished.
I do have the assessors. And when it actually catches up here.
Yeah, it's still thinking.
Yeah.
It always messes up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my office has been sandbagged all this month, actually.
Isn't it beautiful?
So, yeah, here is the assessor's department, you know, just kind of gives the basic layout of how every, you know, all the, and there's some questions, some links.
Well, that's what's good. The links take you to how you can have the form. I mean, it's really incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the whole design that we, you know, when we all collaborated was how do we make it easy to get through, and I think that we're accomplishing that, you know, making everything easy to find. There is a search option, you know, above at the top of the website that you can go to, which is up here as your search. There's also the phone number and the address right at the top of the page. Again, from a mobile phone, which is where most people use, you'll have the click the call option. You'll have the Google Maps, so you'll click on the address and it'll, you know, open up your navigation and be able to get you right here. So we tried to tried to think of everything that, you know, we would want when we're looking at just, you know, a website, or, you know, if we were looking for something, what would we want? And this is kind of what we came up together. And I think once complete, it's gonna be a really great website.
And will you show them finally that page where, like the blog posts that they're continued, that you can,
Yeah, these,
yeah, lower it down.
pay no attention to the actual content there, because I was just writing, you know, stuff. But the way this will work is like on the main page right now, you know, Maine Township is constantly putting up updates or notices about the flu outbreak and all these different things. Well, these posts here on the main page will constantly be changing as they're updated. And they'll go to, you know, it'll usually be like 4 to 5 different posts on the main page. And it'll also allow you to, once you click on one, it'll take you to a page that archives all the previous articles and stuff like that. So you'll be able to go back and look at all the previous posts.
So we were thinking on this page, we rotate, for example, like trustees corner, and, you know,
Right.
when Dagmar has, you know, notices about the weather, or like you said.
Right, anything that you want
that's
somebody to
urgent.
notice right away,
Right.
you know, because it's right
The
on,
flooding.
right on the
Right.
right page, it's right there, so, at a glance that you'll be able to get it. So,
And then we showed them finally how you sign up for the newsletter.
the newsletter is just down there at the bottom. Now, keep in mind, the 80-inch screen makes the email sign-up thing look really huge, but it's just type in your email address, hit submit, and it'll send an email and with a sign-up form, and then you can sign up for the newsletter that way.
Can we do that instead of having you mail it to us?
You can sign
Well,
up,
not everybody has computers.
No, but if you.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
you can get an email copy of the, you have
It's a bulk
email
mail.
copy of the newsletter.
Yeah, it's a bulk mail. We can't take you out of the,
You can't take.
you're not gonna be taken out of the mailing. It won't save, you know,
Make sure you.
already saved on that.
There's so many residents who don't have computers.
Exactly.
Well, I think that covers about what I've got to say.
So when we actually have it all complete, also, you know, all of the, I think we need 8 more people, and then we'll have it live streamed. And we also will be able to update the agendas in the
All the
minutes.
agendas are on there as of right
Right.
now, you know, that everything previous, all the video links and everything are currently already uploaded here.
I love it.
It'll be a recurring thing. So the nice thing is it's easy to update, and we also, we can give the head of the department control over the content that they want to put on, you know, for like their blogs, for example, and those kind of things. So it gives everybody, everybody can kind of contribute to it to make sure that it, you know, stays the way that everybody.
That's what's great, yeah. That's the senior photo that won well, we just passed it. The one that won the award. And that's the garage sale we co-sponsor. That's National Night Out. That's our typical board meeting, September. Oh, it was December. That's turkeys when we were giving up. There's the photo I was talking about.
John, you do notice now that, I mean, just to observe, Laura caused you to give a very good oral presentation.
Yeah.
Caused a lot of interaction, so you actually did it.
Yeah. There's still no questions. Still no questions.
Laura had said something, John, where is it? We have to like the page, you said we need 8 more people now, or?
8 more
That's for
people.
the YouTube.
And I haven't
Well,
done
then
it
you
yet.
can
Yes.
like, if you like the page,
Now, the other thing
then we
is,
can stream it live on YouTube.
yes, and the other thing is once Maine Township decides to go with social media, Facebook, Twitter, those kind of things, they can easily be incorporated right into the website. And where, with, like, for example, those blog posts or those updates are made, they can link directly to Facebook and Twitter, so that can go out to everybody with just inputting all the information in one place. So that's another thing that can be done when Maine Township's ready to do that.
Thank you,
Thank
John. I'm sorry. I am so, this has been project since June. So I'm so happy, we're almost there, and we really will have an actual unveiling. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to asking for a motion for approval of the general assistance expenditures.
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of December 29, 2017 and January 12, 2018, and general assistance checks number 51062 through check number 51108 in the amount of $63,117.81.
Second?
Having a motion and a second, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
Okay, and now I need a motion for approval of the road district expenditures.
I make a motion to approve payroll for pay dates of December 29, 2017 and January 12, 2018, and road district checks numbers 20157 through check number 20203 in the total amount of $181,325.44.
Second. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Susan.
What? Did you say over objection?
No.
No,
Oh,
I think Susan second.
Oh, having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
And now, and finally, can I get a motion for approval of the general town fund expenditures?
I'll make a motion to approve payroll for pay dates of December 29, 2017 and January 12, 2018, and general town fund checks 55597 through check 55656 in the amount of $309,414.73.
I second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll?
Excuse me, Supervisor Moran?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.
All right, now we're moving into electrical. We moved up this because we didn't want to make Sharon wait through all of our reports either. So, Sharon Darling, if you can, or Durling, I'm sorry, step right on up. For those of you who were not here last year, or however many years ago it was, we have participated in an electrical aggregation. The contract is up in April. In order, if this contract is to be re-signed, this has to be approved tonight. Sharon went out to bid, and she can explain the sheets that you are looking. Does everybody have the NIMAX sheet? Okay.
Yeah,
The blue sheet.
I'm
All
Sharon
right,
Durling.
Sharon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Supervisor, trustees, and members of the board. I'm Sharon Durling with NIMAC, and that stands for the Northern Illinois Municipal Electric Collaborative. The township, after Governor Quinn signed into law that communities could bid competitively to try to get lower rates for savings for their ratepayers, townships wanted in on it, and so that was approved in 2013. And so as soon as this township could do, they presented the referendum to vote. It passed, and so this is would be the end of the fourth year of an electric aggregation program. We did seek bids from a multitude of suppliers, and 6 suppliers, all regulated by the ICC, responded with some fairly aggressive bidding. It first begs the question, what is the ComEd rate? The bids look really good, but how do they compare to ComEd? ComEd actually no longer supplies electricity, but there's a state agency that sets what people call the ComEd rate, kind of a misnomer. Our program expires in April. If you were to renew, you'd have 2 months where we know the ComEd rate is 7.2 cents. It's announced, that's where it is today. But then it changes every year. It's announced in May to a new rate in June. What's the new rate in June? So you can compare your bids you received. Half of that supply rate is regulated charges that are set 3 years in advance, so we know what they are.
And the other half of that is the actual generation of the electricity. And that's why I've got a few different bids here. So we do know capacity rates are increasing just under a half cent. So industry analysts say in June that ComEd default rate will probably be somewhere between 7.5 and 7.7 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's some information that we do have for you. It's reset every year in June. And as you can see from the bids, it looks like the energy supply is fairly flat going forward. That is a fairly flat curve. We normally get bids for 1, 2, and 3 years, but thought it advantageous to get bids for 1.5 years and 2.5 year terms, because it's nice to be able to go to bid when you know exactly what the ComEd rate's going to be. We have a really good idea of what it is, but that's why we're suggesting maybe look at 18 and 30-month terms. You end up in a better place to be able to accept bids in the future when we don't have maybe as much information. Right now, we do know capacity rates are going up, so we know that the bids are well under what's expected. So if you look at your sheet there, I see, right off the bat, 3 supply companies, Dynegy Energy, Eligo Energy, and MC Squared come in with some of the lower numbers. Dynegy Energy at 30 months has the lowest number on the board here. And then MC Squared has something a little interesting. They're offering a rate guarantee. Currently, the township doesn't have a rate guarantee. 99 out of 100 communities don't have rate guarantees. And I see when you buy insurance, it costs a little bit more. That rate is a little bit higher. So you can see they're offering a guarantee. So that's the short
I'm sorry,
of it.
Sharon.
Yes.
The MC Squared is actually lower than Constellation, Dynegy, Mid-American, and Nord.
For a 1-year term, yes.
Yeah. All right. So now they offer a rate guarantee. Tell me what it says.
Yes.
Rate to be lesser of bid offered or ComEd BES rate minus 0.2, excluding purchased electricity adjustment. What is that mean?
I can respond. Any questions about that? Yeah, let me be clear. So we know the rate today is 7.2, so that guarantee starts in June when the new rate will be announced. We think the new rate will be 7.67 cents. But let's say it comes in below that. I don't think, well, let's say it comes in at 6.9 cents, so it would be virtually impossible. So then they would offer you a rate 0.2 of a penny below whatever ComEd announces, so that would be 6.7. No one else is offering that guarantee. And it's a little bit more expensive in the longer term. I guess Eligo is a little bit cheaper for 12 months. Dynegy is a little bit cheaper for 18 through 30, well, actually through 3 years, a little bit cheaper. What is the ComEd BES rate? That's the base rate that's set by the Illinois Power Agency. It's overseen by Lisa Madigan and the governor. And that's the entity that sets the rate that anybody that doesn't go outside of ComEd, as most people do, that's the default rate that you will.
So if we did MC Squared, it says rate to be lesser of bid offered or the ComEd minus 0.2. Would we be locked in to, let's say ComEd was 7.8, I'm just saying, would we be locked into 7.19 if we did 12 months?
Yes.
Okay, and if ComEd was 6.8 or 7, I think I've told you my horror stories with
Yes.
electrical aggregation, so
Yes,
I'm generally not
yes,
in
Supervisor.
favor of it. But this, I've never seen this guarantee. Why is MC Squared guaranteeing this?
They're pretty confident. When you write an insurance policy, you're really confident that it's not going to happen. The actuarial tables, but they're pretty confident that the ComEd rate, we already know it's probably going to be 7.5, 7.7. So they offer that. They know some communities like a rate guarantee.
And we're not going to have to pay minus 2 of 7.5. We're going to pay 7.19.
Yes, Supervisor, no lesser of 719.
That's an
or
incredible
lower.
guarantee.
Is that what coverage is? Because I know we had a guaranteed contract too for 3 years, I thought.
I don't think they're currently.
Yeah, isn't It's MC.
But that contract is over.
It's expired, I think they currently don't have a program.
That's correct. That's correct.
Right, it explains.
Okay, so why did they let that expire?
We don't work with them, we work with 140 communities, and I'm not sure why. We're usually able to get bids. Most of our communities that have renewed in the last few years continue to renew. Because we're able to beat the comment rate with the competitive bids. Suppliers are bidding fairly strongly for the township, so they want to continue.
What's your
Well, at the most 12, I'm sorry?
What's your worst?
Well, because, you know, when it first started, and this is the problem I still have with it, and I'm very honest with Sharon, I wanted, you know, if the residents want it, we'll do it, but it's the opt-out part. You know, that thing. Resident, unless you physically opt out, you're stuck with it. So when I had my law office, I had no idea it was when Park Ridge did it. And my electric bill literally jumped 3 times the price.
Wow.
And it was terrible for my office, it was. I mean, ComEd was lower than and it wasn't MC squared though, it was direct energy. This was back in 2000. So we think direct energy somehow hijacked us or something, because I know that wasn't the one offered by Park Ridge. But then in terms of my house, like, you had to physically opt out. I'm worried about the people, you know, especially because we have a large proportion of seniors.
You had to send a postcard or something.
Yeah, you have to affirmatively send that postcard. If there was an easier way.
I do have one solution to that. We work really closely with all these suppliers, particularly Dynegy. We've done a lot with them lately. Dynegy, we've negotiated, since your current program is with Dynegy, so if you're renewed with Dynegy, they have kept track of everyone who has opted out. They would suppress all notices and not automatically enroll that group of people who opted out a year ago. So those folks would not have to opt out again. They've got a record of everyone that did opt out.
But what if it was advantageous to those folks?
That's a great question too. There's a new law that used to be folks would be paying 14, 15 cents, and they don't know there's
That's
a
what
better
happened
deal.
with me.
Yes. Oh, well, there's a new law that by the ICC, they require that an informative notice also be sent to everyone. And it's real clear at the top. This is informative. You're not automatically enrolled. But if you're interested, and folks will look and see they're paying 14, 15 cents. Oh, Maine Township, you can do whatever. So
That's if they look, though. Most people, and I might be wrong, most people throw it out. They think it's a solicitation.
well, they don't have to do anything, so they won't be forced. So the informative, they can throw it out, and
Well,
they
it
won't
is
be
with
enrolled.
the Maine Township logo on the envelope, so they know it's coming. The return address is Maine Township. So most.
Is there anybody in the audience who would like, Joseph, Mr. McCullough?
The comment I want to make, why don't you just make it opt-in instead of opt-out?
That's what I want to do. That's what I'm about to ask.
I've had the same problem in Niles. They keep changing me every
Right.
year, and then 2 months later,
Right.
you lose 3 months because you're.
When I asked that question last year, we weren't able to do it. Are we possibly able to do that? It's a very good point.
There's not legislation for that. That would probably be at the cost of the township. Suppliers probably are less inclined to do an opt-in program. It'd be very expensive to undertake, so that would be something that the township would, pay for the printing and the notification.
They're not gonna give you the
That's
same
possible.
rate because they don't have
Right,
the volume.
that's right,
Correct.
because
It
you're not
wouldn't be
getting the
competitive.
volume, and then we have to take on the cost of the paperwork.
These rates are below the ComEd rate, and there would be a nice savings. Some folks have said the ComEd rate will come in at 8 cents. I think that's a little high, so we went conservatively, let's say 7.6. These rates are a nice, close to a half cent below. So they're fixed, they cannot float, and anyone can leave the program if they're there a few months and...
Well, tell me about that. What's this escape clause?
Oh, good question. The fourth column says escape clause. Anyone may leave at any time for any reason with no termination fee. Just make a call or even contact me, we have our toll-free number, and they can leave the program. I don't think they'll find any rates lower than these, but they're free to attempt to.
And then under the column of Illinois aggregations, am I reading this correctly that some, like Illigo has only 15?
They've done 15 programs, so yes, they're a small company. We've only done one deal with them, so we don't have a lot of experience. We have significant experience with Dynegy Energy. They're a solid company, publicly traded. MC Squared, we've done a lot with them.
And I noticed Direct Energy is not on there.
They are not on the list, correct.
So now this pass-through charge for
Yes,
MC
the
Squared.
last column.
What is that?
Well, if you'll recall the polar vortex of winter 2014, the United States, we are served by an electric grid that covers 16 states, crazy, all the way from Maryland to New Jersey up to us. And that grid very nearly collapsed. It was almost like, this is how I'm going to describe it, they were using jet fuel to power and generate electricity in the Northeast, it's like pouring champagne down a toilet to flush. I mean, it's very expensive. We almost crashed. If we had ran out of electricity in the summertime, it'd be bad, there'd be some deaths, but running out of electricity in that polar vortex would have been a disaster. So the federal government, FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, said, we can't get that close again. We're going to impose a fee. Some of these suppliers said, we're going to pass through those fees. Oh, you had this contract at $7.13, we're going to slap on another half cent. Our NIMET customers in our contract, we don't allow for pass-through fees, because who knows what random, and I don't mean random, but we don't know what future legislation is going to bring, and if they come up with, oh, another penny per kilowatt hour, that would just slam your program. So that's important that we allow no pass-through.
So why do they have a no pass-through for 12 to 24 months, but then a pass-through, which a pass-through is a bad thing?
It is a bad thing. MC Squared doesn't want to take that gamble, so I wouldn't ever recommend accepting a 36-month term, but they will promise no pass-through for a shorter term.
I think everybody would agree if we were doing this, Nordic Energy was out of the box. They have everything I mean, they have pass-through charges that are the highest, and they only do 5 aggregated places.
Because it's the same price as the 36.
Trustee Sweeney's asking about the 30-month term. That would be, no, I'm sorry, that's my typo. I should have said 12 through 24 months. For 30 months, they will not pass through. Or, I mean, they will pass through. Thank you for asking,
30 to
Trustee.
36 is yes.
Yes, thank you for that correction.
So what is to stop? Is it possible for the individual consumer, like the gentleman there, Sharon, myself, to sign up with these companies without using the, without the township aggregate?
Absolutely. I spoke with a gentleman today from Calumet City. We have our own customer service line. You're lucky that the recipient of most of those calls. And nice, sharp gentleman, 82. He was not slow at all, but he was paying nearly 10 cents per kilowatt hour and had gotten really messed up. It turns out, I think his daughter had answered the phone. Someone, a nefarious person perhaps, said, I need to know your comment account number. Or sometimes they'll say, we're going to cut off your account. So that happens, and it's bad. I talked to a gentleman, 96 years old, in Mundelein the week before. He's been paying 14.5 cents per kilowatt hour for several years. We think part of this is a protection when, village seniors, a lot of them say, I'm with the village, I'm with the township, and it's a bit of a protection in addition to actual money they can save versus the comment rate. So if there are some bad, when they come and knock on your door, we just advise folks to say don't do business door to door. And part of this, we think, is a little bit of protection against that. The ICC just completed a study published in Cranes that the average person that got their own individual, and everyone's free to do that, pays 20, this is ICC, so they don't have any skin in the game, is paying 24% above the comment rate.
So if the comment rate is estimated at 7.5, and we're talking about 7.19, what is the risk? Other than, yes, if they only allow for an opt-out, and all these vendors are the same, I mean, it's only an opt-out. with everybody, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so let's assume it's opt-in. What is the real risk then to the individual? We don't see the ComEd rate being, it's still considerably higher.
That's sort of what I was asking, like if a
Yeah.
person signs up on their own,
Right,
you know, if they want to save money from the ComEd rate, I call up MC Square, am I going to get really that much higher? than
You're probably not going to get
7.19?
this low of a rate if you go on your own. This is a negotiated rate for a group because of the volume of warehouse purchasing.
So the issue of complaints or something that could be coming back from residents won't be there based on,
We haven't had any
There's
complaints
really not
on
any
the
other-
price. It's a better price
I
than,
think what
No, the
you're asking
complaints are
is-
on the opt-in.
So, but if it's an
Or
opt-out,
opt-out.
okay, if it's an opt-out, and they would be asked to opt out of the lower rate, correct? No? Yes?
No, they have to, yeah, they have to opt out of the aggregation.
Of the
So
aggregation,
isn't,
which
I mean,
And then
so it would be beneficial for them not to opt out.
exactly. But the
Right,
idea-
but it's the problem of the actively, like a lot of seniors or me, or just, you might throw it out, it's a card. You literally get a card.
Well, they'll save
Here's your
money
name.
then.
opt-out would be a benefit for your business, and you get a
It was not, definitely not a benefit for my business.
opt-out.
When you
Oh, to opt it out, yes, oh my God.
But they
it
make
saves
it
me.
difficult to
Yes.
opt out. is what
It's
Laura
way
said.
But
difficult.
that was also a commercial rate, it's different than residential.
Yeah, that's true,
yeah,
but,
maybe that's.
direct energy, it definitely, I mean, you said it's sort of easy to make that phone call. That phone call ain't so easy. I mean, when I called direct energy, they gave me such a hard time, and I had looked at the rates. ComEd was 6% at the time. I was paying 8% with direct energy, which was insane.
That's typical for direct energy. Yeah, I mean, I've seen really high rates. I had meetings at ComEd, they said people reported 35 cents per kilowatt hour, and it just, when I contacted Dynegy to switch the 96-year-old gentleman from his 14 cents to 7 cents, one account doesn't matter to Dynegy Energy, but the executive wrote back to me and said, you know, it breaks my heart to see these people ripped off. So there is a bit of that. It's part of why the regulation came into play to help communities go out to bid for, you know, but most communities can get bids below the ComEd rate.
And there is the escape clause, right? That if you miss out on opting out, you can always escape.
Yes, anyone can.
And I suppose if we were gonna do it, we could put it in the Mainly News and really, Sharon, you go to Neighborhood Watch and you're involved in the unincorporated community. So is there, I mean, I thought there was a big problem with this opt-out.
I called people I knew they had no idea they
Right.
opted in. So I had called people and said, do you want to stay or not stay? What are the comparisons to people that were with the program last year as opposed to what we paid from ComEd? Can you tell me?
Last year,
what
the
I would
ComEd
say?
was cheaper.
The community has saved $165,000 over the last year, an average of about $31 to date for the typical ratepayer in Maine Township. So it's hard money spent on an electron that the service is exactly the same, it doesn't impact their service, and it's just a commodity for which they're getting a lower price.
And then what if I get in and I don't like it? What does it cost me to get out of it?
Nothing. You could actually have folks call our NIMAC toll-free line, and we can help them leave.
No fee?
No fee, never a fee. Fees are ridiculous. You should be able to freely come and go. And some people are a little like, what is this? They'll opt out, and 3 months later, oh, my neighbor's saving a little money. Call up, you can join. It's, you know, the idea is the government or your board isn't telling people what they have to do. It's an option that otherwise they would not have, and they'd be having folks calling at the door. So it's, ideas.
Well, the problem is we are sort of telling them what, you know, by doing an aggregation, we are giving them one option,
Right.
unless they opt out.
You're giving them what's hopefully a better choice.
I know, but it's, you know, it's so hard to know what ComEd will
And
do.
you use it?
So with all the information we have today, doesn't look like there's really a downside to choosing one of the lower rates, correct? I mean, we have to go with an estimate for ComEd at this point and make a decision.
Well, we don't have to do it. you know,
You can reject all bids.
Right.
And then we would notify the ratepayers. They would get a notice from ComEd, probably end of March, saying the program is suspended, everyone's being moved back to ComEd. And I will warn, you'll have some real, once it gets, solicitors get wind of it, you'll be heavily inundated.
how do you get off of those calls?
You can't. How do you get out of any call from any, the do not call
Oh, that made
directory?
me more into getting called, putting myself on the do not call.
I'm doing a do not call Federal Registry, like for my mother and my call, and
It doesn't work for me.
yes, I agree, Supervisor.
But, okay, so,
I have a question. Since Exelon is the parent company of ComEd, and the top one, I think it's Constellation Energy Services, is that pretty much the same as a ComEd rate?
No, it's
That's
not.
the same
Their bids are, their prices are higher, and there's legally, call it a Chinese wall. Constellation and ComEd are owned by Exelon, but they are two distinct and separate legal entities, and they don't make an action. And by the way, it's, again, the Illinois Power Agency, overseen by the Governor and Attorney General, that sets what we call the ComEd rate. So it's either that Illinois rate or a local rate, if you can get one better.
Well, Century 21 and Baird Warner and Coldwell Banker are all owned by Realogy.
Yeah.
how much did the average person say? You said $31, was that a year?
Yes, it's about $3 a month. For doing nothing, there's no difference in the commodity, it's actual
Who pays for
electricity.
the township? Does the township have to pay for that, or do you guys?
That's a great question. And your name is Sharon also? There's no hard cost to the township. If you were to select a supplier, they pay for all the mailings, the opt-out notices. They have a customer service line, we have a customer service line, and then ComEd also sends a second notice, so everybody would get 2 legal notices. And I know Doreen takes some calls as well, so that's some soft calls. I encourage her to email me or send folks my way. So no actual dollars spent.
So the mailing the township sends out is paid for?
The mailing is entirely approved and overseen by the board because the township's logo would be put on as its official business, but they don't pay for any of the printing, but they would approve it. Or if you require any edits to the notice.
Well, we could put the information on how to opt out on the website too.
Could we do that? And, since I didn't realize that we had editorial control over the notices, I knew they got paid for. Could we put like our own thing about opt-out?
You may put your, as long as their legal counsel, approves it, it has to be according to the ICC regulations. Yes, you can put it in your language.
The smallest print.
Okay, no, but we can help make it super clear. Could even put it in a newsletter.
Well, that's what I was.
Most folks, you have a pretty high opt-in rate. That is, I think there was 15% of folks who opted out in the last renewal. A lot of folks have gone on their own, so there's a whole lot of people paying that average 24% too high. That concerns me, but that's their choice. But they get an informative letter. When I get the informative letter, then they compare rates, and that's sort of a helpful bit of information.
Can we get the list of the people that opted out before from direct? Or is that confidential?
No, I believe it's not direct, it's Dynegy Energy. They're a great company, but don't confuse the direct and Dynegy. I don't believe that's allowed to be. The ICC has real strict regulations over everybody's personal information, no one gets to touch that.
So, I'm assuming, oh God, I can't believe after all these years of voting no, I might vote yes. Assuming that the board wanted to do this, I'm assuming you would recommend MC squared because it's got the yes for this guarantee and that seems, and no pass-through, which,
For 12 to 24 months.
right, and I would definitely only want to do 12 if I was going to vote for this. And they are the second lowest. And Elio, I would never go with, they have 15
people.
It doesn't seem very
Communities, yes,
easy,
yeah.
to experiment with. Does
I
anybody in this
concur.
audience use MC squared? And if so, how do you like it?
Wonderful.
All right.
And the odds of ComEd coming down below it's 7.2 cents from April and May are pretty, it's pretty low. That's
Yeah.
a good point.
That's like the only one I could see.
And the 12-month rate is the same as the 18
Right.
and 24, so there's no penalty for going 12.
Right.
Or there's no
Which
no
usually
penalty for
there
going
is.
24, so
And
it's
yeah.
considerable.
I understand, Supervisor, 12 months, I might just direct your attention to look at Dynegy for 18 months, just a couple of reasons. And of course, you can feel free to reject, but I think the timing is a little bit better for being able to go out to renewal bid. Same supplier that you currently have, they're pretty solid, and they don't offer a rate guarantee, but it's, you know, I can't believe I'm saying this, I just don't think a guarantee is really essential at this point. We haven't had them offered to communities in 3 or 4 years. But if you like it and you want it, that's great, but I might consider the 7.162.
So like betting there won't be snow in July? I mean,
A little bit, but you can't promise anything, right, on snow and July.
The reason I'm hesitant to do more than 12 is because there's definitely some expression of dissatisfaction with this. Including, I think, internally, and definitely, you know, so, I know we have to make a decision tonight. I mean, that's just my personal thing. That, you know, why go to 18 and lock in for 18 when, you know, for 12 you can get 7.190, which is lower than the Dynegy 18.
no, it's not.
No.
I'm saying
18
it's
is
lower than the
7.162.
Dynegy 12 one. Yeah.
I think we should go with the 18-month MC squared, because there's no, but you can always, you've got that guarantee.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because there's no penalty
Right,
for.
These are all good decisions, I'll say. They're not like, oh, this is an obviously bad one. I mean, of these 3 suppliers, so.
I mean, it has a rate guarantee and the price is the same for
And the price is
12
the
to
same.
24
That's
months.
amazing.
Why not get the
Right.
guarantee for 2 years instead of
No, that's a good point.
12?
No,
12
that's
months.
a very good point. All right, does anybody else have any more questions, comments?
I would say that Kim's points are pretty good ones too.
Yeah, I agree.
As long as you're comfortable with the term.
Yeah, no, I am. If it's, you know. Wait, if you live in Park Ridge, does that mean I have to opt out again?
If you're in the unincorporated portions of Maine Township only, I should have made that clear.
Yes.
Unincorporated portions only, which may not be.
So it's not the city of Des Plaines, it's
That is
not
correct.
it's just the ones we go.
That is correct.
Unincorporated. So all of us people who live in Park Ridge will not be getting this fabulous
Right.
benefit if it turns out to be a fabulous.
That's correct.
Does the township get any compensation for furnishing?
That's a great question, Sharon. Does the township get any compensation for undertaking the program? No.
Okay.
But
That's a good point.
you brought up the question, years ago, communities, when people were saving 40, 50%, they say, well, we're going to this trouble, we'll take a little cut, and then say it's for administrative costs. Now there are fewer and fewer costs, it doesn't happen.
Well, especially if you're paying for the mailings.
Yes.
Right.
I would not take any cost.
No.
Thanks
All
for
right,
that question.
Sharon, as usual, you do a fantastic job. Really appreciate that. And
Very impressive.
so I am going to ask this board, just basically first before I ask for a motion, I'm going to ask an open-ended question. It seems like everybody's sort of wanting to do MC squared for 18 months with publicizing very, very well the way to opt out.
No, I think you should do it for 24 months. If you have the guaranteed rate, you might as well
Take the
take
2 year,
it for
yeah.
the longest
Yeah.
amount of time that you're out and you can.
Okay, let's see that first last.
It's the same rate and it's guaranteed for 24 months, so.
We should pass the checks. I would concur.
Okay, all right, so that seems to be the general, then I'm gonna ask for a motion to, approve, MC squared, and, well, first of all, a motion to continue doing aggregation on behalf of the unincorporated, Maine Township, as we have done in the past, and to use the MC squared company for a 24-month period at a rate of 7.190.
Second.
Right, having a motion and a second, is there any more discussion? I have one question. Once we do this, what happens next?
Good question. I get to work, and you just relax a bit. Within a week, I would work with Doreen tomorrow in terms of having your attorney just finalize an agreement, and that's usually quite simple. It's been agreeable with hundreds of communities. The next thing is, in about a week or two, we'd draft that notice for you to review and red line as you wish, or work with that.
Okay, but since we've all voted, or we will have voted, we don't need another board meeting to vote.
Correct, yeah.
All right. Kindly call the roll.
Supervisor Moransky.
Did somebody second?
Yeah, continue. Aye. Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
Moving right along, we have an official report from Dagmar Rutson, our Office of Emergency Management.
Good evening. Since we had some new members on the board, I decided to kind of give a little overview of what OEM is all about and what we do. OEM serves residents in parts of Des Plaines, Park Ridge, Morton Grove, Glenview, and I think even a small part of Rosemont. And however, we focus mostly on the unincorporated area, but we are asked by other agencies for our services when they need it. And in any kind of disaster, we need to first use our own resources before we can reach out to our neighbors. Once we reach out to the neighbors and need more help, then you go to Cook County, then you go to the state, and then finally, you get to ask FEMA. But they tell you that you need to be self-sustained for at least 72 hours before you can even ask for any help anywhere. So to be ready for different kinds of incidents, we have to educate and train our volunteers. And to become proficient, we have to practice what we have learned. If we never practice any new learned skills, they're going to go by the wayside. You need to keep practicing what you've learned. At community events, we are able to practice some of our skills as well as educate the public. We give our members a wide variety of training, and I will give you a list of some of the types of trainings that we have done in the past year. We've been trained in search and rescue, hands-on only CPR. And since the summer, this past summer, we have trained 334 people how to save a life in 5 minutes. Also have learned to use an AED. Trained to run, hide, and fight. Stop the bleed, as this young man we had today. What he was able to do. Everybody, no matter what the age, could benefit from having that training. And it doesn't take long to do it. We've also trained in sandbagging, prepared for flooding, incident command system, communication, traffic control, winter conditions, earthquake and tornado drills, how to set up and maintain our vehicles and equipment, lighting, railroad safety, use of fire extinguishers. This past year we trained 150 people how to properly use a fire extinguisher. We've done blood pressure checks. And since the summer, 387 people have gotten free blood pressure checks. We do weather spotting, and we work with the police and fire departments. Some of this type of training would also be very beneficial for personnel in the township. For instance, incident command review. Many of you have taken some of the NIMS classes. Well, you take it 5 years ago, do you really remember everything? And in the event of a large-scale incident, members of leadership need to know how to fit into the structure that other organizations use. And these goals are mandated by the National Incident Management System, known as NIMS. Past year, we did have lockdown training and exercise. We've had one, and we should repeat that each year. All staff or new need a refresher, and then an actual lockdown exercise. Stop the bleed. Training focuses on the skill needed to control bleeding following an active threat or mass casualty. And there have been a number across the country this year. And even right here, as that young man showed us. Hands-on only CPR. Teaches somebody how to keep somebody alive until EMS shows up. Same with stop the bleed. That's just those 5-10 minutes until you can get the ambulance there, get EMS there. How to use an AED. That's also included in training. Only takes a few minutes to learn that technique. Tornado drills and fire drills should also be practiced each year. OAM is prepared to offer these trainings to all staff with adequate time for scheduling. We will provide the supplies and training materials. Most of these trainings can be completed in less than an hour. We received the supplies for the hands-on only CPR through a grant from Illinois Heart and Rescue. We also used money from an All-State Helping Hand grant to add another AD to our equipment. We do community outreach at community events such as North Maine Fire Protection District Open House, National Night Out, Senior Expo, and the Taste of Park Ridge. Stevenson School, right next door to us, counts on us on our expertise for the tornado drills and also the school evacuation drills. Now, we do have our local radio station, 1350 AM. It's used to inform the community of upcoming events in the township. It gives pertinent safety tips as well as services that are offered to the residents by the various departments of the township. It's updated as needed. When flooding was imminent in our community, we were able to direct residents as to the location of completed sandbags, and an emergency number was given in case more sandbags were needed. Residents were also informed of street closures and where cleanup kits would be available. On this radio, we also get the NOAA weather alerts, and it briefly interrupts our regular broadcasts on that station, and when that's over, then our regular programs come back again. We also have a 24-hour emergency number, and I get some interesting phone calls there. And let me share a couple of them with you. I got one in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but I know enough French that I was able to figure out that this woman needed to reach somebody in GA department because she had an appointment, but she was in the hospital and couldn't be there. So I translated it and sent it to the right person in GA to get that information. Now, sometimes when I get a voicemail, voice to text can be kind of strange. You get some interesting interpretations. And I want to share this one with you. It says, "Hi, I'm leaving in Desmond, and I see there's water leaking from the road from George. And see, oh God, so please, Jake, that is water leaking from the road. Thank you. Now, I knew there was a water leak somewhere. I just didn't know where. So I did call this person, and it was very hard to understand him, but finally I got church, and then 3 times I asked this man to spell the second street. It was Cedar. Well, okay, now we know. So they had to kind of play detective on that. And I get these calls in the middle of the night, during the day, anytime, whatever. And many times I get calls that I necessarily can't take care of, but I usually try to make my business to find out or direct them to somebody who can get them the answers. And many of them are very grateful that they even get a call back that somebody answered, because many times I'm like the last resort. They've tried everything else and they figure, well, I'm going to try this, and then they're pleasantly surprised if they do get an answer. So my job's just part-time, but I'm on call 24/7. Questions? Comments?
Thank you.
Thank you. That was very thorough, and thank you for all the help with the winter, weather tips and the things you put on the website. And I love the radio station.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, moving right along, we have officials reports. I'm going to start with Susan, Assessor in Wayland Gray.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give you a little statistics on my office. From January 2nd to January 22nd, our office handled 343 phone calls. We had 1,763 taxpayer visits, and those include applications made for certificate of error, homeowners exemptions, senior freezes, and disability exemptions. So that's what I have for you this evening. Thank you for your time.
Highway Commissioner Kinsman.
In the past month, or the last time since we met, we've had quite a few instances of freezing rain and small snowstorms, 1/4 to 1 inch. And although it seems like a low precipitation winter, in terms of resources, you still have to go out and salt the streets, even if it's just freezing rain for 1/2 inch. And we've done a very good job this winter. Every time I've checked, I'd say our streets are superior to other nearby villages and towns. I think it's something that the residents have gotten used to. And if it were to stop or curtail somewhat, I think they'd notice. And you almost wish you had a nice 6 to 8 inch snowfall, so it would be 4 hours of overtime and done. But this is 2 hours here, hour and a half here, and it adds up. There was that one instance where we had like 3 inches spread out over 3 days. Well, that required 4 different instances of the guys being called in. If it was a steady, heavy snowfall, that would probably be 1 or 2 instances. So. And a lot depends on what it snows. If it snows on Martin Luther King Day or Sunday, it's more expensive than if they do it on a Wednesday night. So there's all kind of different factors about it. And you always worry about, I always worry about those expenses, because you can spend most of the year above water, but then have a bad month and a half if everything is not as wonderful as it would appear. I also passed out the Maine Township Highway Department line item money transfers, all from the General Road Fund Administration. My eyes aren't so good, and this spreadsheet, I read off the wrong line on the last one. I wrote down transfer 1,000 from office supplies. I'm gonna, actually, that line item doesn't even have 1,500, it only has 1,200, and I just read it wrong, because all these line items are condensed. I want to change that from transfer 1,500 from conference and meetings, the same as the one directly above where I transferred 200 to the accounting services. You know, there's only 5 weeks left to the fiscal year, and I'm not going anywhere.
Wait, do you want to do this now? Or do you
No,
want to do this
It's just
when-
explaining.
I'm just
No, I'm
explaining.
just, but what is the number you're changing the last one?
I'm not changing the number, I'm changing the
Line item.
line item from
Oh,
office
I
supplies
got you.
to
Thank you.
conference and meetings.
Bless you.
So, you know, there's ample funds in conference and meetings that can cover both the cost of the accounting services and the dental insurance. So that's pretty much my report then.
Okay. Now I got you. Clerk Jolans.
Nothing to add to my report tonight.
All right, and trustee Kim Jones.
I just wanted to wish everybody a happy new year. We haven't gathered together for meetings since the new year, so welcome the new year in, even though we're at the end of the month. And wish everybody health and prosperity, and all of the things that the new year will provide to us, hopefully. And our neighborhood watch meeting was canceled because of the severe cold, extreme cold, so wasn't able to attend this month, so that concludes my report.
Trustee Carabo.
I also join in wishing you a blessed new year. And want to also thank the staff, including Doreen and Dana. Last time we were together, one of the issues we had to address was the sexual harassment policy that we're going to adopt. There were changes proposed, etc., and the staff really jumped on that, got it to us, and got it to us at a time where I was able to also juxtapose it to the sexual harassment seminar put out by the TOCC on January 10th. Because they got it to me, I was able to sit in the lobby of a hotel in DuPage County and do the seminar juxtaposed with the proposed sexual harassment policy draft, and that was a real big help. We were able to get it in by the 12th, so Laura could shoot it out because it really was a crunch time that the state gave us to get that done, and I want to commend the board too for getting that done in such a quick time, and very thorough, very thorough. Also had a great time attending the trustees meeting and TOCC dinner meeting on the 18th, which was I struggled dining at the Weber Grill, love it, out in Lombard. And we had presentations, and Susan also attended, and I wanted to thank, is Donna here? Hi, Donna. Thank you, Donna, for coming. That was really great, too. And when they asked any input, we gave some nice input about the accomplishments. We stepped up and gave the accomplishments of what Maine Township has done over the year, the struggle between providing those great services that Maine Township provides in an environment which was raised many times, in an financial environment that's a very big challenge. It's not the cause that we didn't cause, but we have to struggle to provide within that environment, that financial environment in the state of Illinois. And it was nice I was able to kind of give them a heads up as to what we're doing here, to many accolades. So yeah, that's my report, and happy New Year.
Thank you, Dave. Trustee McKenzie.
I don't have anything to add. Happy New Year.
All right, trustee Sweeney.
Guess I'll talk about the really happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yes, I joined Dave at the TOCC, which is the Township Officials of Cook County, for those of you who don't know the acronyms and verbiage. And they talked about Robert's Rules, and I learned enough to know that I need to read the book and learn more. So I think I'm going to, invest in a copy of that because I think it helps to move along meetings and, get points for everybody to be succinct. So thank you for that. In addition, I'm just continue to study operations of the township a little bit and more, and to kind of, listen to looking into things that we can, do to continue to improve. Thank you.
All right, and I'm going to go last here. So, I believe I solved the Republic problem that was brought up some months back that Dave expressed confidence I could solve. And we had a meeting, Dana, myself, Mike, Simon, and the Tim from Republic, and they have agreed to everything we want. So they will be amending the contract to add on these things, and they will also be helping to provide the dumping of those things, and putting out more dumpsters and for a longer period of time. And they will go in the back for people whose things are in the back, and they will take the mattresses and they will take the large items. So we did work this out. So give me a few more months to get it put into play. I mean,
So we're clapping because I was right.
oh, so it's you that were. No, negotiation is something I think I'm familiar with. What?
They're not gonna put dumpsters in the alley.
No.
Of course not. We couldn't get on the
Okay,
street.
I know exactly what you want in this other picture. I promise you. I'm going to make you happy if it's, no, we don't, I saw it.
This is a picture of somebody leaning a man up against my house.
Sure, I just literally gave you everything.
Isn't that terrible? I mean, it's terrible. I know, I agree. That's why I knew that would.
You knew I would do it, right? Because I don't want to have to see more pictures.
Maybe Tyler wants to see my pictures.
You know I adore you.
That's my.
You're gonna, one of the agreement was to have a dumpster put somewhere on this property. right?
Yes, so that Wally doesn't have to take the credit. I almost swore there.
Well, Mike said that's a good suggestion. Maybe
Yes.
once in the spring. We used to do it, put a flyer out, get rid of your large items, you know.
No, well, we're making Republic dump it. I mean, we went one step further. So, and also they're not gonna hang out at McDonald's anymore.
I'll be happy to report your success.
I can't wait till this is a success, and I'm gonna say within a month.
Let me say this. The township did this with good intention, right?
You guys voted for it, township.
I'm not doubting it was a good thing, right? However, I don't think they understood the problem. And I think over time, they've done less and less because they've gotten away with it. And that's my only concern. Let me see. We have had a table out on the hill there since before Thanksgiving. So
You give me the address, I'll have it moved by tomorrow.
I don't want Mike's not the garbage.
No, it's not your concern as to who moves it.
Okay.
I provide service, you give me the address, I will have it moved.
Smack Alley, 9471.
Who answered you while they were on vacation and got your garbage moved?
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
I said, who answered you when I was on vacation and got your garbage moved? I did.
No, Mike has come out and picked it up. That's just not the answer, is what I'm saying. They should, I'm doing the same thing as
Okay.
everybody else.
I gotta move on.
Go.
That was supposed to be a good thing.
It is a good thing, it is a good thing.
Okay, we also, as you see, have really, I think that this website is just the cat's pajamas. And I am so proud of it and of everything we've done with it in the group that did it. And so that is one of the best accomplishments of the month. Well, of this time since I've been supervisor, actually. Also, Dana and myself and all the department heads have been busy. I'm collecting self-evals, those were done. I'm a firm believer in self-eval. I revamped the form and for all the employees, and then the regular evaluations will be in this week. And then Dana and I will be starting to have budget meetings in the next few weeks. And then the rest of the month was also spent on interviewing auditors. which is the most important thing. And that took, our RFP committee did a lot of work, also helped out by trustee McKenzie with reviewing it, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But in terms of this month, I also want to wish everybody a healthy new year, and really, if it doesn't get warmer, I'm just moving to Florida and Kim will be here. That's all I have to report. And Ms. Attorney Dowd, do you have any?
Yeah, I just worked on a number of things with the staff, a couple of employee matters, reviewed a few agreements, and then followed up on some FOIA things that we had to complete, and that's pretty much it. Garden variety stuff.
Yeah, we didn't get, we spoke too soon at the last board meeting. I don't remember if you were here in December when I said we didn't have that many FOIAs. And then we just had like 4. All right, Dana, do you have anything to report?
Nothing to add.
Okay, so now under old business, I want to discuss picking an extra meeting in February for a closed session to discuss potential merit raises. We are changing, in the past people got cost of living raises. One of the reasons we've introduced a very stringent evaluation process is this is all part of making the budget. Legally, it has to be under closed session in discussing performance evaluations. So we will have it on the menu in February, and we will have it on, the schedule, not menu. I'm hungry. We'll have it on the schedule in March and February for those board meetings as well, because with the 48 employees, it takes quite a bit of time to get through this. So the last time we did this, we required 3 meetings. So if anybody could look at their calendar, I'm trying to get a date somewhere. It's just for that purpose, literally for that purpose.
So it's on for 2 meetings.
Right, we would have it for 2 meetings. I think we need a third. Because we have to have our preliminary budget, it has to be done. Well, I could switch and then hire our auditor, but our preliminary budget numbers come in March. So we're going to be looking less likely to pass this budget in April. I mean, we can wait until May to pass the budget. But
We could keep it on Tuesday,
Sure.
February 6th.
does February 6th work for everybody?
I believe so.
Yeah, actually.
What time?
Well, how is...
February 6th, I can't.
Oh, that's right. That's right. All right, so...
I can do the 8th.
Can you do the 13th?
No. We have a meeting, I have a meeting.
Yeah, I have a meeting on the 13th as well. 8th is fine. Wait, what day of the week is
It's
it?
a Thursday.
Is that too tough,
I
Dave?
cannot do the 8th.
All right. Well, we're doing really well.
Oh, yeah, I've got a meeting on that day too, on the 18th.
15th?
I'll be out of
14th?
town. I will be in Florida, finally.
In February is good.
What about the 20th before? No, that's a regular meeting, is it? Or no?
14th.
No, it's the next one.
You do the 20th the week before.
Oh,
Regular
is the
meeting.
20th the week before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
I can't do Tuesday nights.
all right, what about, hang on a second. How's everybody going once, going twice with Wednesday, February 21st?
I'm good.
It's okay by me.
Oh, I'm not here.
Okay, Thursday, February 22nd.
I'm not here. I'm going to be in California.
You're going to be.
Wednesday, February 7th.
February 27th?
How about the 7th? Wednesday, February 7th.
No,
You mean 28th?
no, we
No,
will
7th.
be back to the
It's
Oh,
7th.
wait, oh, yeah. excuse
Yeah,
me.
you're back
Yes.
on the 7th. We
Yeah,
could do the
Wednesday,
7th.
yes.
I have a meeting on the 7th.
Jeez.
That's neighborhood watch too, just
Yeah.
when I was in
Okay, we're doing one more thing here. Thursday, February 8th. We already tried that?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Does everybody have to be here in person? Can there be a phone in? No.
I mean, Yes, there can, because there's no vote, but it's hard to look at evaluations.
Monday, February 5th?
Yeah, actually, we have budget meetings that day, that's actually perfect. Does that work?
I can do it.
It won't be long, I mean, because if we spread it out over 3 meetings.
I'm sorry, I can't, I suggested that.
12?
On Monday.
Yes.
12?
12.
Susan.
12 is good.
Okay, yeah.
Monday the 12th?
Yes.
All right.
At what time?
7 o'clock.
So this is,
Closed session for the specific purpose of beginning discussions on potential merit raises and evaluations of staff.
Do we have a separate vote on whether we want it open or closed? I'd like to make a motion to do that.
how long are we meeting?
I'm confused. I don't think we can do that.
Well, we have the right to vote on whether we want to go to closed session or not.
Yeah, at the
So I
regular
know we
board
can
meeting,
meet,
I'm
but
picking this.
At the
this
board
is-
meeting, we'll do that, okay.
Right, so I'm picking this as a date for that specific purpose. With respect to the discussion of, are you legally allowed to have a discussion about people's evaluations? Is it your understanding that you are
Yes.
in open session? You can discuss a person's personnel
Yes.
evaluation. Dan, what's your opinion on that? Dan?
I'm sorry.
What's your opinion on whether or not you can legally discuss a specific employee's personnel performance in open session? I was under the impression it had to be closed session.
Yeah, employee matters are matters that are sensitive and subject to closed sessions. If you're talking about discipline or those kinds of matters.
No, we're talking
merit,
about
yeah.
employee performance with respect to budget and
Typically matters that are-
specific raises for that specific employee.
Typically matters that are held in closed session, discussed in closed session. yes.
Well, I don't think she's asking about typical, I think Susan is asking if we should have a vote because it's optional. Because you said typically, not necessarily, correct? It's not required.
I think Laura's question was, is it legal to do it in open session?
No, I'm literally saying, I thought it was absolutely illegal to do it in
First of
open.
all, what employee's gonna want their merit or their reviews discussed in public? That's embarrassing.
That goes to the vote, because, I mean, the point is, as far as my understanding, is that it is optional. It's not mandatory. It may be strongly, while suggested, and typical.
So what is your legal opinion? Is it?
My
legal
belief
or-
that those matters are always heard in a closed session, where you're discussing sensitive information about employee performance and disciplinary matters or merit. We've always treated it as such, and that's my belief.
It's treated that way.
Yes.
Right. But I don't know if that really answers.
I mean, you asked if it was legal.
It isn't, I mean,
So that's the question, Dan, is it legal? So can you open up the rule book and?
Yeah, I don't have it with me, but I will.
I already did, but
Yeah.
nobody ever wants to believe. That's okay, but we're gonna vote on this at that time. So if indeed, obviously, yes, you formally vote to go into closed session, that is the case. But it isn't, in my opinion, at least as an attorney, and knowledge of township law, not an option. But I understand procedure. Okay, so we're all good with, we're not doing any vote right now, because it's
Right.
not on the agenda.
Right.
So, we're picking, I've already forgotten the date.
February 12th.
Thank
7
you.
o'clock.
Okay,
7 p.m.
and our next item of new business is, I want to get, let me go in a different order here. Because I really want to try to accommodate our choice for the auditor. Is it okay? Or do you want to, I'll go in the order.
with us a memo that was posted as part of the packet, posted online, the agenda for today. Would I do that under old business, or would I do that to wait for new business, or just wait till the end?
Wait till the end.
I'll wait till the end.
Thanks. All right, so we're gonna just go in order and shoot this
So
in.
we're only picking one date then?
Right now, yeah, because the other two will be board meetings.
Okay.
Because we already have closed sessions
Gotcha.
scheduled
All right.
on those board meetings.
Gotcha.
All right, so we have the Maine Township Senior Property Tax Assistance Program, which Assessor Moylan Cry worked very hard on, and which I thought was a fantastic idea, to help seniors who were at risk of losing their houses. I remember, just before Susie gets into it, I do want to say that I recall Dave specifically saying, we've always talked about a rebate and it would never happen. And this is money that would actually, taxpayer money, that we have in our contingency fund left over that would actually be rebated for something that, in my estimation, is a very worthy thing. And it's a pilot program, and I'll let Susie continue.
Well, actually, Madam Supervisor, I'm tabling it. From talking with board members, I don't see that this will come to a conclusion and pass. But that being said, I would like to make a comment. I would like to make a comment, and no further discussion is necessary when I'm finished. Originally, we had spoke about rebating, yes, to the residents in our township, giving them back some of their tax dollars. And we came to the conclusion it would not be really beneficial to them because the amount that they would receive would not be of any substance. And that also would cost the township money to do that, and it would be a burden. It would be a burden on the township, it would be a burden on staff, and we'd have to hire extra staff to actually hand out $10 to maybe $100. Our households, we have 153,000 households in Maine Township, and that's not including our commercial. I kind of earmarked probably about $40,000 maybe for this project, because this was an off-the-ground kind of thing. And we would be targeting seniors, and it would have to follow some guidelines, and they would have to come forward and fill out the application. And basically, the household threshold on this would be a family of two would have to be $36,635. So that would be for a family of two living on an annual income. So that puts us in our senior category and probably in our senior freeze. I feel that those people have contributed to our community for a long time, being in schools, Park District, continually. And this is just going back for 1 year, 2016. I've heard, oh my gosh, they can get in the state tax deferral program. Well, that's $5,000, 6%, but you know what? You've got to be on time on your tax, on your real estate taxes. So this would not include that. I've heard people say, let them get out of their homes. Let them move somewhere else. There's other things. $10,000 to pay for taxes. You know what? These people, $3,000, $4,000. It's like, and even $1,000. It's not that many. If at Christmas time you put in a quarter in the Salvation Army bucket, and I hope you did, and I hope you did more, that's probably not even as much that it would cost our taxpayers for this program. That's, wanted to do that? I know, sure. Oh, absolutely. There's always people that take advantage. Who doesn't? I mean, no, I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. There are people who take advantage. And that's terrible. It's a terrible thing. But with general assistance and our office to figure out, how much money these people have, they qualify for the program, then they get it. So what, we can't help them one time? No, maybe not. Maybe not this time. Maybe something in the future. But right now it's a no, and I heard that. And I get it. So that's it, it's done for now, maybe another time. So thank you for your time tonight and listening to me. And I don't need any more discussion, so thank you.
All right, we are going to table that, much to my dismay as well. I think it was an excellent program. Okay, so we have the recommendation of the committee, the RFP committee. So I included a memo in a packet at your tables. Our last interview was this past Friday, so it was not possible to put our choice into the board packet. So it is with pleasure that our RFP committee, consisting of Dana Berman, Laura Marask, Denise Jadko, Molly Kisnerchek, and advised by Trustee Claire McKenzie, highly recommends the clear winner of the RFP proposals. And that would be the firm of Evans, Marshall, and Pease. Not only was this the only firm with township experience, as they do auditing services for at least 10, if not more, neighboring townships, but they also have extensive levy expertise to be able to advise on levy issues when the time comes. Additionally, overall, they will be the lowest bidder over a 3-year period, including the per cost, the hourly rate for additional work, additional extra work needed, which Denise does, and which we would be paying for levy expertise. The cost of the contract is still under the bid amount of $20,000. The cost of the contract is $15,000. For the first year, as well as approximately the same for the 3 audits required of the town fund, GA fund, and road and bridge fund. All of us were in agreement with this recommendation. The proposal is at your seat. The gentlemen are here. And I just want to say the first firm we met with, we really liked. They were in Tinley Park, however. He did a lot of municipalities, did no townships. The second firm we met with, I love the guy because he was my son's t-ball coach. So small world, and he was in Niles, so really liked him, but they had no government experience, and they were the first to admit it. Other than with charter schools, HUD, and IDOT. This firm blew us away. They do Niles Township, they do Ela Township, they do Schaumburg Township, they do Palatine Township. I mean, it was unbelievable. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the firm of Evans, Marshall, and Pease with Jeffrey Rolifson. That is you, okay. Here is the representative. Can someone make that motion for me as our auditor?
I'll make the motion to engage the auditing firm of Evans, Marshall, and Pease, PC, and Rolling Meadows as our auditor.
Nice. Can I have a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, will you please
Can I
call?
ask a question? I just want to know how this compares to what we've been
Paying?
accustomed to, yeah.
5,000 lower.
Okay.
And hourly rate, much lower.
Yeah, and they, which is also what we know is that they're showing caps, 15,000
Correct.
for 2018, right? No more than 15,300 for 2019, and no more than 15,600 for 2020.
Right.
So,
Right, so we're well under, yeah. I was really pleasantly, and this is actually the firm that Scott Gibbard recommended. So.
And is there much variance in the reporting that we would expect to see? I know it's fund accounting, as far as the actual report, is it flexibility in changing up reports at all in the audit itself? From what we've experienced, what we're doing in the past? Or do we intend to pretty much staying in line with what we're doing.
Are you asking if we intend to change our budgeting procedures with respect to realistic budgeting as opposed, actual versus?
No, because it's more from an audit perspective, yes.
I don't understand the question, I'm sorry. Does it have to do with the engagement of this firm?
Yes, so yes,
I mean, they all have the same procedures.
It's a standard. Is everything standard?
Yes, everything is a standard audit.
Standard of the
Every single township would use this auditing procedure.
Okay.
Okay, so, can you take the roll?
I can. Yes.
Yes.
Supervisor Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Sweet?
Yes.
And with that, I would like to introduce Jeffrey Rolifson.
Well, thanks for approving our contract. We look forward to working with you in the future and get started.
That's right. In fact, you might get started in the next 5 minutes because our next thing is road and bridge line item transfer. And I'm turning the floor over to Wally.
Yeah, essentially, we have to transfer, and basically this is somewhat aesthetics because I wanted to have each line item covered without any overage. Well, in order for this to happen, I needed line item transfer. We had 2 personnel in the highway department. One went from single to married to child. The other one had a child, and that wasn't factored into the original budget. And plus, you're doing it 3 months ahead of time where you really don't know what to ask for to begin with, since the health insurance year for this township starts in July, and our budget starts March, so, we're working at a disadvantage there. We have $50,000 in a contingency fund. We haven't used any of it until this point in time. So I want to transfer $20,000 from the contingency fund to the health insurance. We have quite a bit left in the conference and meetings section or line item, and the previous accounting service, we're awful close. We're $145 short in terms of what we budgeted and what the actual expense is. So I'd like to transfer $200 from the conference line items to the accounting services. And lastly, I did make a mistake about office supplies. I'd like to change that to conference and meetings. There's $1,500 there that can be transferred to dental insurance. As of the end of December, we had an overage of $8.35 or something. However, this past January, I checked last week, and we had almost $700 in new dental expenses, and factoring in, you could have a comparable month in February. I think we're safe with an extra $1,500, and that would make, unless something catastrophic happens, that would make every line item that I deal with at or under budget. That's what I'm striving to do. So this would require, based on previous experience with other boards, and it would require a motion and a second and an up or down vote.
So you're looking for a motion to do all the money transfers listed here in, from the general road fund.
Yeah,
to
they're all
the
in administration.
Okay.
They're all under that head.
All right, can I have a motion to transfer the line items as specified by Highway Commissioner Kisberg?
I make a motion to transfer the 3 items listed by Walter, transfers from the general road fund of $20,000, second is the first, $200 the second, the third being $1,500 with the amendment
that is coming from conference and meetings to dental insurance. That'd be the motion.
All right, can I have a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Marasco?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
All right, now. Okay, I lost it. Oh, wow, okay, so, Dave, you wanted to say something?
Yes, as part of the agenda packet, there was also posted to the public, and in response to that, any inquiries made, there's a memorandum that was just put in the packet and made to the public that says attached.
Oh, can I interrupt you for 1 moment? Because I have a statement like that, and I was the one that requested it. So, if you don't mind, I can make my statement first. Thank you. I requested that the township give us a comparative analysis of the legal fees that we have spent since May of 2017 through December for 2017, and compare that to the years of 2014, 15, 16, and 17. And along with that, we also had a line chart. Should you see, there's a dramatic rise in the legal fees. So, in the interest of transparency and accountability, I have asked the township to provide a comparative analysis for legal fees from the years 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017. The analysis and the corresponding line chart illustrates that during the last 7 months of 2017, legal fees increased more than 100%. In the years 2014, 2015, and 2016, the fees remained steady. In fact, if you look at the chart, which is also on, it actually went down in 2016. During those years, the average legal cost to the township for the months of May through December was $10,643.33. In 2017, during the identical 7-month time period of May through December, the legal costs were $24,252.38. This is an increase of 128%. The overwhelming majority of those costs were incurred responding to Edgar County FOIA complaints filed with the Attorney General and the General Assistance Employee Hiring Dispute. For those of you who may not know, Edgar County is a county located 192.4 miles south of Maine Township, with a population of 18,576 people. It is approximately a 4-hour car ride. So if you look at the map of Illinois, we're here, Edgar County is here. You would have to go through 6 other counties to get to Edgar County. Not sure why we've received so many FOIA requests from a county that is 4 hours away, with a population of 32 people per square mile. It should be noted that neither a cost benefit nor a cost savings to residents was incurred as a direct result of the exorbitant increase in these legal fees. Finally, the costs in this comparative analysis do not factor in the inherent costs of the time that our employees have expended responding to these inquiries and complaints. Those lost hours were hours that should have been utilized to serve the legitimate needs of Maine Township taxpayers and residents. Thank you. And hopefully these will, I'm not finished, that we post this on our website also.
If I may, Supervisor Moran, I would move to post my memorandum because this was suddenly popped on the website and posted to the public Thursday.
Well, in the
No, it's
interest of
not Saturday, it's
transparency
Thursday.
and accountability.
Right. And so I agree.
You guys wanted everything, okay,
Absolutely.
let's back up.
This is a memorandum that was posted. There was no, I was not aware of any inquiry being made of legal fees. And, but the memo
Well,
reads.
she didn't do a FOIA, so.
The memo reads, was posted to the public as follows by Trustee Kimberly Jones. Attached to this memo is a breakdown of township attorney's legal fees for the years 2014 and 2017. As you can ascertain, legal fees for the years 2014 and 15 were steady. Legal fees decreased in 2016. Legal fees in 2017 increased by over 100% from 2016. This increase was primarily due to the Edgar County FOIAs, Edgar County complaints filed with the Attorney General, and the General Assistance Employee Dispute. It is important to note that this increase in legal fees is neither a benefit nor a cost savings to the residents. And then there's a breakdown year by year of the legal fees and the chart. That's what the memo says. And today, keeping in mind that just today alone, we handled and expended out over $553,857.81. The responsibilities that we handle are important. The agenda, so looking at this memo, it raises a concern in the four corners of the memo. Just looking at what's in the memo, that the attorney's fees spent increased in year 2017, averaging for year 2017, an additional $865 per month, or about 5 additional hours per month in attorney services for the board. Also, as the public reads this, note that the fact pattern and opinion in the memo should note: A, the current board was not in place and taking action for the first 4.5+ months of year 2017. B, that the numbers in the memo show that the attorney's fees expenditure in April of 2017, at the time we weren't here in 2017, increased to $3,681.25, which, number one, looking to the month of April in years 2014, 15, and 16, of 1508.33 equals a 40% increase in the month of April for April 2017. These numbers were incorporated into the chart, into the numbers in the memo. Number two, this was expended by the prior board. It's not to be reflected in any actions taken or approved by the current board. What the fact pattern also fails to state is that in 2017, when we came on as the new board, that in 2017, the hourly rate for legal fees was increased in excess of 15%, and the attorney's fees for each board meeting attendance by Mr. Dowd, by our attorney, was increased 25%, as requested, be considered by Supervisor Laura Morass, in which Trustee Kim Jones considered, reviewed, and approved, which of course did not apply to the expenditures in years 2014, 2015, 2016. Apples and oranges. D,
Oh, but excuse me.
that trustee, I do not wish to be interrupted. I do not wish to be interrupted.
Well, I have.
I do not wish to be interrupted. The D, that Trustee Kim Jones states that it involved, this increase involved, quote, general assistance employee dispute, but fails to state that this dispute involved, one, the announcement by our supervisor in 2017 of the new position and her independent appointment of a former trustee for that position who was unsuccessful in the last election had in April 2017 to retain that seat to perform what appeared to be services already being accomplished with the salary and benefits to be paid from general assistance funds, public aid funds. Number two, that the apparent and predictable issues caused to be raised as a result of this unilateral action by the supervisor and the need for supplemental legal consultation, input, and opinion sought by the board, and also to look to and address a legal opinion the supervisor requested on her own from an attorney,
Oh, no, that's
not the
absolutely
firm,
correct. I'm sorry.
not the firm representing the board, all without a proposed fee agreement or notice thereof and submission of same to the board, and without hearing and approval by the board. Number 3, the resulting debate.
Wait, I'm sorry, are you
caused
talking about the
I don't wish to be
firm that
interrupted.
Marcia-
I don't wish to be
I'm just not
interrupted.
sure.
I
Is
don't
this
wish to be
getting in?
interrupted. Number 3, the resulting debate caused in the objections raised by the board, all of which concluded by the announced resignation of this person and related issues, again, all in year 2017, all of which did not occur in 2014, 2015, 2016. Also, all the additional actions and procedures taken by the board which necessitated submission to an approval by the board and/or need of review and analysis by the board, including the historic bill pay procedures exercised by township boards past, the way it has always been done, juxtapose the requirements of the Open Meetings Act, looking to the applicable statutory provisions and procedures, the data and information received via education seminars addressing these issues participated in by board members, and the need to look to our attorney for guidance, input, and opinion, all of which was very helpful and resulted in the need for procedural changes to place us in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. And also, let's not forget about all the challenges the new board was required to face and address after being seated in mid-May 2017, not covered here, much of which you can see on the website. And yet, all of these matters which the memo causes to be raised, this one memo, all these issues caused to be raised by this one memo now posted on the website have already been hashed out, debated, and concluded from mid to end year 2017. There is no need to issue, post, and to the public such a memo in this new year, and to again raise what this memo causes the need to debate. Or, to avoid such debate, the board is left with only one other choice. That is for the board to smile, remain silent before the public, and swallow this inaccurate, unjustified criticism so posted and published. I also raise my great concern of the chilling effect this posting of this memo may have in scaring or intimidating persons from seeking information from our board by lawful FOIA requests or otherwise. This is our statutorily imposed obligation and duty, and it's their right exercisable without such concern or scare. We are the first board in the history of the township that accomplished the videotaping and timely posting of the board meetings in furtherance of commitment to transparency as to the actions taken and money expended by the board under this current supervisor and staff. I challenge and wholly disagree with that set forth in the quote memo included in the agenda packet posted on the website, and hope that the memo can be put aside, as it is important that our board continue to work together without hiccup in accomplishing our duties and performing our obligations to the fullest, all of which are specifically set forth and limited by applicable Illinois statute. I also move for the entry of this writing into the record for same to be posted on our website as an addition to the agenda packet or otherwise in response to that memo, for the public to also be able to view and consider when coming to their own opinion as to the functioning of this governmental body on this issue published. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to
And I also
respond to
attach,
that.
just for the record, I attach to my writing as an Exhibit A, in case there's any question if I'm misrepresenting the memo in any way, I attach as an Exhibit A in reference thereto the memorandum and the chart.
I appreciate the response, and I want to say that as part of your response, you admit that the legal fees we incurred regarding general assistance hire was personal. It was for political and personal reasons. It was a vendetta, and the taxpayers paid for it. And I appreciate you wanting this added, because you also admit that when
I see where it says that in
transparency
there.
and
Can you show me where
accountability,
it says that?
when you talk about accountability and transparency, when you present it, one of you three,
This is just unbelievable.
excuse me, I'm
Robert's
speaking to
rules of
you.
order should be,
Excuse me, I'm speaking.
But
When the three of you present something in the guise of transparency and accountability, it's not.
Right now, okay, Kim has the floor.
But I see, but when accountability and transparency are brought up by another trustee in the minority, it's chilling. And I'm the minority apparently, even though I'm the senior trustee. And also, all these FOIA requests, the purpose of this is because Trustee Sweeney has been in constant contact with Edgar County Watchdog Group, which is the one perpetuating these FOIAs. These are for political agendas and political purposes, and the taxpayers are paying for it, and it is inappropriate. It is not the way you run a government. And that's all I have to say, and I would like my comments admitted to the minutes and to the vote. And along with this, which if people read through the lines and study it, you admitted to all this in this.
And I can just reply, there was no
So,
addition
thank
that
you.
incorporated in the memo,
But you did.
and I did not admit to that.
We were so close to adjournment.
All right, I conclude
I
my
would-
statements.
I would like to be, have the floor to.
All right, Trustee Sweeney, 3 minutes.
I also would like my response to be included in the meeting minutes and reflected in the board packet. So this is my response to Trustee Jones' memorandum in the board packet. Trustee Jones included a memorandum in the board packet concerning township legal fees increases. This memo was devoid of any input from other trustees, omitted critical facts, and failed to include any analysis or recommendations. Jones states in the memo that increases in legal costs were due in part to an increase in FOIA requests. No responsible public official should complain about FOIA requests that serve a legitimate purpose. The public has an absolute
Legitimate
right.
is the key word there.
Please, I don't want interruption. The public has an absolute right to request documentation regarding actions of its government. It is our duty as a township to provide this information upon request. FOIA expenses can easily be avoided by making such information available to the public as a matter of course and by fully complying with the spirit of the IOMA, which is Illinois Open Meetings Act, in all things. Jones' memo specifically makes reference to complaints about the Attorney General's office concerning the Open Meetings Act violations by the township. The Attorney General's office determined that the complaints did in fact warrant review.
We haven't received
Although
the- we haven't
Jones
received
seems
the-
to suggest
It's not
it
true.
warrants review, and that's in the letter. Although Jones seems to suggest that the FOIA requests are frivolous, the ongoing investigation by the Attorney General's office is proof positive that the FOIA requests were indeed legitimate. The sole concern of the township trustees, including Jones, should be to remedy the actions called into question, not to criticize FOIA requests and complaints themselves. Jones' memo includes the following statement. It is important to know that this increase in legal fees is neither a benefit nor a cost savings to the residents. FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, is the single most important tool that taxpayers have to reveal how government is spending its money to benefit the people. To that end, legal costs incurred to comply with FOIA requests directly benefit the residents who desire transparency in order to determine how government is managing taxpayer money and whether their government is in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. So yes, because the FOIA requests and complaints to the Attorney General's office had merit, they're a benefit to the residents of the township. Since Trustee Jones raised this issue, I felt an explanation should be offered to the residents. Legal fees are a necessary cost of government operations because all government powers are determined by statute. A single trustee cannot determine on a whim what is legal and what is not, what the public has a right to know and what it does not, and who should know what and when. The more transparent a township becomes, the less of a need there will be for a FOIA request in the future. Our new board, as of May 2017, has successfully implemented videotaping of board meetings and online board
That's an
packet
exaggeration.
documentation.
Absolutely not.
This is a testament to the township's new goal, transparency, which was solely lacking prior to 2017.
Except
Regarding
it's
other
not
issues,
true.
additional and unnecessary legal costs were also incurred in last 2017 due to the supervisor's unilateral and surprise retention
of downstate attorney Gregory Polini without the approval by the board. An opinion could have been rendered by board attorney, and the additional costs were due to the supervisor's actions. Furthermore, the board voted not to pay the bill. However, the supervisor paid it anyway. The supervisor and Attorney Polini deliberately characterized the Polini's opinion and Polini's bill as pertaining exclusively to the general assistance, emergency assistance. This characterization was made for the sole purpose of exempting the bill from board approval. However, the supervisor sought legal advice because the board directly challenged
I'm sorry,
her
that's an
authority
incorrect
under
fact.
general
I did not seek
assistance
legal
provisions to make the hire and claimed that the board should have approved the hire. The issue presented to Polini was whether supervisor or the board had the power to make the hire. If the supervisor did not have the power to make the hire under general assistance, then in the alternative, the board would have the power to make the hire. This is a powers vesting issue. So we should have been consulted, we should have been voting on this. In other words, the question on the propriety of the supervisor's hiring of the general assistance employee was an either-or question, a question of the powers amongst the township officials. The supervisor cannot deem Polini's bill to be a general assistance bill based merely on the conclusion of the opinion. The bill should have been paid as a general assistance expense and requires the approval of the board. So for all of these reasons, I want this included in the board packet. That's why we have increase in legal expenses. And last, and I have copies of this for anybody that would like it, and I'll pass this down.
I can make just a couple.
Oh, I can have copies made too of my statements.
It's on the website.
No, this statement wasn't on the website, so let's make copies and pass that out.
So if I may, that is so rude, Kim, I cannot believe. It's on videotape too, so I hope you're very proud of yourself.
I'm sorry, okay. We're not here for snotty comments.
You're right.
I didn't hear it.
Because we are getting them. If I may make a couple of statements. I sent an email request to Kimberly Jones when I saw this memo, asking her specifically why she would come up with this memo, post it on our website, put it in our work packet, with absolutely no action requested and no detail analysis attached. So I am challenging the allegations that are submitted by Kimberly Jones in this memo. And one of the reasons I'm challenging it is not only do I doubt that we're comparing apples to apples, but in looking at the last bill that Dan Dowd submitted, 4.75 hours, and this is the December, 4.75 hours of the 6.75 hours of total billings were not for any FOIA requests or OMA-related at all work. So that's 70.37%. So if we're going to analyze and we're going to compare, then we need the actual data. So I am challenging these allegations, and I am requesting a copy of every single one of the bills that Ms. Jones has put at issue in this memo. So I am formally requesting a copy of every single one of the legal bills from 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017, so that I may also do an analysis.
Well, the reason I didn't respond to your memo because it was just for future reference, because it was a very nasty tone and it was extremely demanding. And I don't respond to memos to emails like that. So in the future, if you would like a response, I would prefer a nice tone. And instead of demanding something, perhaps you can request it.
Well, I would read the email, but it's really not necessary. I will try to make it to your tone, but you could have responded and asked for a different.
Well,
this is my email. Hi, Kim. I read your memo.
I'm sorry, we're not going to go into emails.
Of being nasty.
No.
So I have the floor.
Okay, no, I am ruling you out of order.
No, I can't.
No, I am ruling you out of order
I am making
because
a
of the
record.
reading of the emails. I'm I'm sorry, if you have,
Well, I would like
I'm,
Claire to respond if she,
I would like to-
she has.
I don't, it doesn't matter, I am ruling.
Well, I am
order.
going to say what my email says. It is very.
I'm still ruling it out of order. Dan, can you please advise the board what that means?
Well, I mean, there was a, Kim brought something up, she wants to respond to it, I mean, I don't know.
But
what it
she's
is.
get to respond.
talking
It's
about
a
personal
response.
emails that are not part of the board
It
meeting.
would- It's germane to something that was mentioned on the board, so I don't know what the harm is.
We can't.
Transparency, might as well hear it.
I could have been done by now. And if you would like somebody from the audience to read it, we can have
I
it.
would like to see this.
No, I'm sorry. First of all, we're gonna end this meeting in 5 minutes. Or
I'm-
at least I
I have
want
new
to end
business
my
I want to talk
participation
about,
in it.
I have new
That's
business.
great, but I want to put this on the record. My email said,
And
"Hi
I'm still
Kim.
ruling it out of order, but go ahead.
Hi Kim, I read your memorandum regarding legal fees. We are all aware that legal fees increased over last year and previous years. What is the point of your memo? Do you want to discuss the reasons for the increase? Do you want to make a point to the citizens of Maine Township that we have increased legal fees for a reason? What is your proposal here? I do not understand why you would write this memo or why you would end the memo by stating the obvious that is neither a benefit nor a cost savings to residents. Legal fees are never a benefit or a cost savings. Legal fees are incurred as a cost of doing business or running a township. The cost of legal fees is no different than the cost of accounting fees or marketing costs or health insurance to our employees or IMRF costs. None of these expenses are a benefit or a cost savings to the residents. What is your point? Please advise prior to close of business Monday, January 22nd, 2018. Please also provide me with whatever you plan on presenting on this topic, memo or issue at the board meeting on Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018. I have no idea what action you are asking us to take or what proposal you are making here. Please clarify your intent and purpose. Thank you, Claire. That is hardly nasty.
That's an eye of the beholder, it's nasty. I think it's very straightforward, and it's inquiring because you came forth with something that was
I'm sorry, are you addressing the board?
inappropriate.
I'm
There's
sorry.
nothing inappropriate about my statement.
Okay, so,
You just don't like it. There's a difference there. Okay, excuse me.
I have new business I would like to be recognized.
well, first of all, there is no new business on the agenda.
There is.
I can, as a trustee, I can bring forth something that I would like to bring up, that I'm requesting, and that I would like to have for next meeting to take votes on. So as I understand it, I have the ability to add that, which is one of the things I think we need clarification on. So if I can pass this, I'd like to read it, and then...
Can we make it part of the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, that would be great.
That's
Pass it
everything.
down, please. I'm just trying to move this along. We can't keep everybody here till midnight every time we have a board meeting. Because everybody wanted to,
So this is in regards to a review of our township board policies and implementation for new board policies.
I thought we were
A full-
making this part of.
A full copy, these are things that I'm requesting, and also for the next meeting that we have preparation for, because I'm requesting votes. A full copy of the current board policies that have not yet been provided to us as new trustees, and I would like that immediately, please. All board policies should be posted and made available to the public on the township website.
They are.
The board should review.
We have them.
Okay, we're unaware, we have the handbook policies, but I've not seen the listing of policies. And
I'm sorry, is there some other policy I'm unaware of?
Let me finish reading this and you'll see the policies that I would like to have.
I thought we were going to attach,
The
you want
board should
closed
review-
meeting audio tape retention. We're going to do that. You want
Okay,
full
wait.
disclosure of official
Can I
and legal
finish instead of
correspondence.
interrupting
She's
I'm the chair. I am not interrupting. I am trying to, you had said you were going to attach it. Everybody said that was a good idea. So I'm saying, yes, we can consider these. There's no need to read it. It will be attached.
Okay, there's some things I want in advance of that, which is what I was reading, but that's fine.
Well, you can send Dana an email. And I'm assuming it's full disclosure of
So we do
official
have a
and
policy
legal.
manual outside of what the personal handbook policy, because I have not been aware
There
of
is
that.
no manual. I don't know what you're talking
Is there a policy manual? Is there a policy?
There's the sex policy, there's the personnel policy, there's the ordinance.
As far as how we control the board?
It's called
Policies.
Robert's Rules of Order.
I'm
which
not
is
talking about Robert's rules. Okay, so the first thing I want is a closed meeting. This is one of the things I want to take action on. Closed meeting audio tape retention.
Susan.
The board should consider, subject to a timely board vote in compliance with Iowa Open Meetings Act, a standard retention for closed minute meetings audio tapes. At the November 2017 board meetings, I was assured in an open session by the clerk and supervisor that an audio from March 22nd, 2016 closed meeting would not be destroyed until I was afforded an opportunity to listen to it.
No, you asked for it,
No,
and I said, sure,
nevertheless,
absolutely. And then
it
a
was-
month later, you're like, where is it?
Nevertheless, prior to the next board meeting, it was destroyed on December, at the end of December.
So are you the
According to law.
Nevertheless,
I'm
the
sorry.
tape was destroyed. This cannot happen again. It is my right under Iowa to listen to the recording. A board policy.
Here.
And I said to you, Susan, feel free to come into my office and I will provide you with any tape of any closed meeting you would like. Knock your socks off.
You know that I requested a thumb drive.
You can't
You can't have it.
As well as, that's why if we had policies.
There
that's
is
why-
a law.
That's right, no, it's not
I'm
a
sorry.
law. I
It
gave
is a law.
discussion to
Ask
the
VA.
It is not a law.
It is a law.
I talked to the Attorney General's office about this.
So that's
I
the
said,
reason
can I
you have a
request
complaint?
it?
You called it,
Laura, just trust me. If I, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You know what? Are you really threatened by that?
No.
I'm calling because if we don't have a policy, I would like to know.
really threatened
First of all,
by
I-
the policy of
everyone needs to
what?
understand this. The three of us were asked to abstain because we were not part of a board meeting where there was a closed session.
So how do you
Okay?
go and
We
afford-
are not required to abstain. We didn't know that. Under their advice, we were told that. So then what we had to do is just, this closed session meeting, the tape was destroyed, so I did not have the right to listen to it. I should have had the right to vote on it. I should have been able to listen to it.
Susan,
Because we're
I'm
not a board
now,
meeting.
Stan, we're far beyond.
Okay.
On this issue,
Okay.
I'm calling this question done. You had the opportunity to come into the township and listen to the tape.
I did, and
That-
I asked to do it in December when I had off for a week because I wanted to be able to listen.
And you said you'd like to hear the
December
tape, and then I didn't hear anything from you until a month later, before the next meeting.
was 3.5
And per the law, we destroyed the tape. VA
I-
destroyed the
Also,
tape.
I'm going to pass, I'm
So I sent you a
It's on
copy of the
videotape.
minutes from the
Anybody can
meeting.
go to the videotape and see it. It was very clear that I wanted to listen to it prior to destruction.
Well, it's not my job to accommodate your every whim. I said you were welcome to come in and listen to the
Correct.
tape. You did not.
And then I asked to come in and you said it was already destroyed.
That was like,
I asked.
A month later, I never heard from you in a month, and all of a sudden, oh, by the way, that tape that we all voted to destroy, I want it. Well,
No.
it was destroyed.
I told you that prior to destruction, one of the coercions behind voting for this and abstaining our vote was that we would be able to listen to it.
One of the
Well,
coercions.
well,
You keep looking, you think you're gonna find some smoking gun from a
Okay.
closed
What?
session
I'm
meeting
ending
about.
this meeting.
wait,
I-
I'm not finished with new
ridiculous.
business. I have the right to take the length of time that I want to bring up what I want to.
But I have a right to control the meeting. I
Okay.
have an absolute right to control the meeting. It
Okay.
has gotten out of order. You've read your
Supervisor Harris,
memo.
can I please?
Your
No, I have
memo,
not read.
well, it's gonna be
I have not read the
attached.
memo. And one of the things I'm
It's going
saying,
to be
as far as
attached.
policy, is I'd like a board vote in the next meeting so that we can have the provision of a thumb drive for us to listen to
That's
previously to
not
meetings. I can
legal.
give people a reason why that's necessary. Because
Hey, Susan, if you get me a legal opinion, which again, if you want to spend more money, I guess that sort of proves the point as to why this money is being spent.
it costs
But-
zero money, everybody
No,
should
no,
know.
it's
cost-
the law.
public access counselor
See,
is
can you
part of the
let
Attorney
someone
General's office. And it
answer
costs
your
no
question?
money to make a phone
Yeah,
call.
yes.
Because if you don't have
Please
policies
advise
in place,
trustee Sweeney
if
as
we
to
don't have policies
the
in
rule
place,
on.
then we have to ask the questions.
It's my
And they had
understanding
said to me,
It's my understanding that the tapes of closed session meetings are to be listened to in the office of the clerk.
that's the way,
They cannot be duplicated, and they cannot be
that's the way it
removed.
says, but I was advised by Laura Harder of the Attorney General's office that if I took a vote, we would have the right to take information on a thumb drive out. It was up to us to vote on that. That's what I'm requesting.
So the staff-
And that's what I mean by policy, because that's one of the policies there.
It's not policy, it's a law. It's a
No,
statute.
if we have the ability to do that, and it's.
I'm not
Then knock your socks off, we've got nothing to hide, I don't care.
Right,
If
okay.
you can prove, pass it, whoop-de-doo.
All right.
Take it, there's nothing there.
What we need is full disclosure of official and legal correspondence concerning the board. The board trustees have not been provided with certain correspondence from and to the Attorney General's office in pending matters.
How would you know that?
We are
I'm
officers.
sorry, Susan, how do you
Because
know?
I got a Google alert and I saw, unbeknownst to me, from Kirk Allen, who you're referencing, that there was
I
actually.
didn't get anything. Whoa.
I know.
I didn't get anything from Kirk Allen.
That's who it is.
Yes,
You
I
know
know.
what? And watchdogs are following us and residents are following us.
They're not following
because
us, you're calling.
No, they're following us, believe me. They are watching these meetings, okay? So I don't think you realize, I have constituents that call me that are concerned about things. And I have to answer to it. So this is part of my job as trustee. A trustee can oppose, even in our audit, a trustee can oppose.
Just let her finish so we can get out.
It's full disclosure. Board, so we have not been provided with correspondence and pending.
I'm sorry,
Further,
please do
the
not
board
interrupt.
trustees were not afforded an opportunity to review and approve correspondence submitted on its behalf. This is unacceptable and therefore a board policy is warranted. Please circulate in the future all correspondence immediately. The agenda items. There's nothing in the Illinois statute states that it is solely within the supervisor's discretion to determine what is included in a board agenda. At present, trustees' request to add items to an agenda have
Susan,
not.
I'm sorry, I have to
Yes, it's
interrupt.
not.
What have you asked me to
This is unacceptable, and
include?
therefore, a board policy regarding trustee agenda items requested is warranted. Please add these items to the February board meeting agenda. Also, please include this in the board packet for the next meeting and in the meeting minutes for this meeting.
You can have all of that on the agenda.
I have this for anybody that wants copies.
Now, I'm going to talk, and I'm going to end this meeting, but I'd like to say that since September, none of you have asked me to include anything on a board agenda except,
Yes, I have.
no, you haven't, except Sunday night when you wanted to change the agenda. And as everybody knows, the agenda cannot be changed. I don't know what happens to you from Thursday on, or why
I
people.
work reviewing the packet, believe me.
Well, then
Days.
maybe you can get those things to us when there's enough notice. If you want to change.
I want to discuss things in open with the public. I want
No,
people
no,
to be.
I have the floor. Can you please not interrupt me?
Yes.
I did you that courtesy after you tried to say you were gonna include it in the packet. My point is, I have not denied anything being put on the agenda. You asked me on Sunday, and then Dave followed with asking me about more clarification of bill pay, which if you watched the November meeting, I think we had plenty of clarification. I'm totally fine with saying open. I think it's so clear to everybody that bill pay is open, and all the trustees do is sit and whisper during bill pay. So there is really, the only people that excuse me, I have the floor.
I'm sorry, something was said, I didn't want to be interrupted, I didn't want to.
I noted that I have been here at 6:30 to start bill pay, and usually with just Kim and Laura.
I was here at 6.
Today.
And last month.
I walked in
No.
at 6:32, you started at 4:30.
And Dave, who wanted this open, came in at 7:10. I don't have any problem.
And then it's 7:10.
7 o'clock. I have no problem what time you guys come in, but now you see the issue as to why
Today, I got that.
you
That's always- I
can't
always
make
things
this the
first.
general meeting,
What?
which was discussed, and you told me in November that that was all good.
The words, no, I said the words open to the public should be next to the 6.
That's fine.
Right, so then we had that done. So
But I
for next
couldn't
time.
do it for tonight.
That's fine. Good.
That's all I'm saying.
Right, but believe me, I
And
know it's
finally,
been 6
I'm going to pass out, one of the things I think trustee Jones was trying to say is that everybody on this end of the board is constantly requesting legal opinions. And yet they don't listen to the legal opinion that is obtained There was a decision made on the IMRF that you voted on that was wrong. You guys did not have the authority to vote.
Here's a surprise again.
It's not a surprise.
I've never seen this.
Well, you're seeing it now because that's what
Makes it a surprise.
Yeah. Why is it a surprise? Any more than your statement? Wait,
Are you
I'm
saying
sorry.
Been provided sooner?
It's dated November 14th.
Yeah, because it
November
wasn't
14th.
finalized until
First, we
December.
don't know about the attorney, general's office.
Well, we didn't get your statements in advance
Oh,
either.
I'm
This is
sorry.
like, people don't even know this.
There were letters sent by.
I didn't put this on the website.
website.
This is a personnel matter, and you are free to do with it what you will, but I just want to point out that it may behoove you people to sometimes listen, before you start, making these broad category statements. This was something, and I didn't even say what it is. This is something that required, a lot of attorney back and forth, and lo and behold, the board had no authority to take the action they did, but we spent
Totally disagree.
All right, well, that's, if you read the memo, and
I'll read it when I get a chance.
it's fine, it's not the subject of any discussion. And by the way, I'm going to end this right now, but I want to say that I do agree with Trustee Jones that it is very suspect. First of all, this board is not responsible for causing videotaping or this new website. This was in the works well before this board got here. So
Laura,
to
and you're on tape saying that I'm going to spearhead this.
You want
Pointed
Susan
to
to
me and
spearhead
said-
it?
So no, I asked,
Yes.
yeah, that is.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely, I wanted to.
I campaigned on this and wanted to run for office because this is one of the things that we need. We need transparency in
Okay,
government.
so you can go back to the minutes of the last spring's board meetings, because I believe that at Mr. Wessel's office also,
Can I
that,
say something?
I think Mr. Wessel.
wait, Doreen would like to make a public comment.
All I'm saying.
I'm sorry, I have the order here. Doreen is next.
Supervisor Marask and I were discussing about videotaping well before it started. Like when she was running for office.
Those
And
discussions,
I was doing research on it.
Those discussions-
And she asked, Susan, she asked you to do it.
Right.
Hopefully because you were interested in doing it. And that's why she gave you the option. But I have a lot of research that I did on my own well before you guys got it.
Okay, I'm sure there was.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you.
And I wish we would all be calm.
this is what the memo of legal fees being posted caused. I don't think they put all this body, that one little memo with the flow chart.
No, it's not that
No
Kim,
response.
it's not that Kim caused that, it's the actions when you have board members that just don't want to listen to what is advised is the law with respect to certain issues. And it has nothing to do with that we don't want to follow FOIA. I was head of FOIA, and I am the head of FOIA, and we've been answering FOIA, and as Pete said in the October meeting, we've been functioning totally fine and operating within the confines of the law. And we are routinely complimented by Laura Harder, by Teresa, there's 3 other ones there that I speak to in conjunction with my law practice, that say we are one of the only boards and municipalities that respond to a FOIA request within the required 5 days. And we always respond. We hardly ever deny. So I don't want to interfere. We're now going to ask for a motion for adjournment.
I have one clarification. I just want to make sure that the email that I read is part of the...
No, that I object. A private email should not be part of a public record.
We open the door by making.
This is why we
This
need
is
policy
changed to a
determine
memo.
this. No
Here,
policy.
I will just scratch out memo, email from...
Okey dokey.
Okay.
Your statement is then.
It's your
part of the-
statement, because you made it here.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
And I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Should I have